Welcome to 24 Days of Drops, an Animal Crossing New Horizons advent calendar that reveals a new build for a differently themed island entrance each day until Christmas. Are you ready for today's theme? Hey, and welcome to this video, my love. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Today is day 18 of Animal Crossing New Horizons Advent Canada. Canada? Oh, Canada. No. Day 18, which is an island entrance that I have been thinking about for months, but I never thought that I'd actually build it because I knew that this would be a very short build, because this island doesn't feature many items, and I think that that could actually be a very nice thing, because as much as I love using many items, I know how difficult it can get if you don't have access to a treasure island. So maybe this can be a lovely island theme for you for the winter time, because today we are building almost like a laboratory, an Arctic laboratory, where they are researching some ruins that they are not sure where it's from, because everything around it is completely bare, but they found these ruins that are in this, you know, they were just built there within the snow. And this was inspired by someone mentioning that I could try an Mountains of Madness inspired island entrance, which I have never seen that movie. I think it's a movie, and I looked at some pictures of it, and I know that this is technically probably not exactly what this is about, because it has like an alien aspect, I think, or like a supernatural aspect, but it just inspired this vision of like an Arctic laboratory, and there were these like mystic ruins that no one knows where they are from. And there is one thing that I actually took advantage of using my modded switch in this build, which is going to be, I will be popping a couple, not too many, but a couple codes right in front of the museum, because there's this weird gap, and especially since I'm not going to be littering every single spot of this island entrance in an item, it looked very strange not having anything there. So I'm going to pop a tarp design there, which, by the way, all the codes are in the description box as per usual, my love. But yeah, I really like this island entrance. How are you, my love? Today is Sunday. Today is the 4th advent, which is absolutely crazy to me. Like, that means that Christmas is next week, which is crazy. But that's also why I decided to plop this build right here, because, you know, last advent before Christmas I thought we could do another wintry build. Obviously this is not very Christmassy, but I really enjoy this build, and it was so much fun to play with. We're also going to be using some of the lunar items just because they give this like exploration kind of vibe, and I really like it. And obviously we're going to be using some ruined arches, ruined pillars, all that good stuff. And yeah, it was actually kind of fun to try and do a more open, not as cluttered design. This is still going to look very full. We're also going to be using tons of the floating asteroids, I think, as a fossil, and they look amazing. It just gives it this even more mystical vibe. Like, why are there rocks floating? Why are there those ruins? What the fuck is going on? You know, we just have to figure it out. And I think this could actually be very interesting island theme that I haven't seen many people do, actually. And I would love to see, I would love to see some of that, or maybe try some of that in the future again. Or maybe we could even like implement some of that for our Icelandic / like Nordic Druid island. I think that could definitely be something that we could maybe do. But yeah, I'm very happy with this. Obviously we are, as I said, not going to be filling every single tile, which is why this build is so short, because, you know, if I'm not placing as many items, I can't really have the longest video ever, even though this did take me roughly the same amount of time that any other build would have, because this was just as fidgety, if not more, because I rarely ever design without littering every single spot in something, at least a custom code. But I feel like if you're doing these like snowy builds, these Arctic builds, it's very unrealistic to fill every single spot, because, you know, when you're at the North Pole or like Antarctica, then there won't be many things. Maybe like some rocks, you'll have snow. That's gonna be about it for like a majority of that thing, especially during winter, obviously, but all year round, really. So I thought that it would be a bit nicer to just have this, I don't know, this like open build, but still, I don't think it looks bad because we are going to be popping in a couple of those weed custom design codes, which I really like, and we're going to mixing it in with actual weeds and also the glowing moss in the snow, because I have been going on about the glowing moss in the snow. It's god tier, it's a must, it's beautiful, and there in a second you will see me plonk in those cheeky little custom codes right in front of the museum tent, just because I feel like it helped it so much. So I'm very sorry that you won't be able to do that, but maybe you can have like the well on another side, or you could pull the ruined arch a bit closer to the museum entrance, and then that might help it to visually fill it in. But I just thought, you know, I never do anything modded, and I really wanted to have that there, so I thought I'd be a bit cheeky and sneak that in there. But I really like how that looks, and I also like how limited our color palette is. This is almost monotone, except for the blues and obviously the green of the tent. But I really like it because the blue doesn't even feel like a proper color, because we have the water, which obviously would be frozen, but maybe the ruins are giving off some heat, and maybe it's like a hot spring kind of river, which I don't think exists. But you know, I really like it, and I like how that like water broke it up, because it almost gives it this feeling of the ice blocks that we have are floating on top of the water actually, and there's like a crack in between, and I really like that, just to break that space up. You know, since we're not going to be littering it all up, I kept in a couple of the things, like for example me placing the seaweed, which we're actually not going to be using in the end, because I felt like it just didn't match that well. It was too dark, which is also why I decided to go for the white ruins instead of the mossy ones, because I just really wanted to make this feel super desaturated and just incredibly like cold and snowy, and just really emphasize on that. And using the mossy ruins and the seaweed just made it feel a bit too, I don't know, it just felt kind of out of place, if you know what I mean. Also, I'm waffling and waffling. Usually I kind of struggle to talk about things during my speed builds, so you know, that's when the shit happens and I keep talking about stuff that no one asked for, and I will have to edit a lot of that out. But today I feel like it's a very like serious build. I mean, it is very on brand for this build, really. This feels more serious, like what the fuck is going on here? Is it like, should we be here? Is it not okay for us to be here? Also, look at the gyroids that I used. I love them so much. They look like they've been like frozen, and it like their skin is kind of cracking as they're moving, or like the ice kind of film that's surrounding them is cracking up. And I really like how they look. They look so cute. I really like them. Kind of like the bongoids, but like more wintry. And I just only used those, and I popped them on top of the pillars, and obviously the one right off the entrance, just so that it gives it like some kind of life. And also with any of these druid islands, like not only Arctic, but like druid islands, I feel like the gyroids just click with that theme, or those themes, really well. I don't know, they feel like they could be like gnomes, or they could be something like that, fairies. So I feel like they just give it like that like extra mystical vibe, and just like, you know, mystical beings inhabiting. Is that a word that you can use? I'm not sure. The island. And back here, obviously, because this was Mountains of Madness inspired, I wanted to at least give a little baby nudge to that. And I popped these dormant volcanoes in the snowy version in, because I love them so very much. And I had to readjust them quite a bit, because you couldn't see them all too well when you're right at the entrance, and obviously you still can't really, because they are covered by all the other stuff that we used, but I like how they look, and how like they keep appearing and disappearing and moving around kind of as you're walking around in front of the tent. I really like that. It gives it some depth instead of just having like a barren wasteland behind it, right? Because I obviously didn't want to have any cliffs, because they are brown, and I don't really love how that looks. I could have obviously used my white cliffs mod, but I felt like that was a bit too much, even though that would have been absolutely brilliant for this island theme. But yeah, we are now going to be popping in the lunar items. So you're going to be seeing me pop in the lunar rover, I think it's called, and then also the lunar, I'm not even sure what it's called, like that kind of thingy, satellite thingy. I'm not sure what it's called, I forget, but you saw me place it down. And then we're going to be popping in a couple more butter crates, a couple more knickknacks here and there. I also really wanted to use the glowing moss jar, because I thought that maybe they picked up some of the glowing moss to like do some research on it to find out what's going on. Like, is it radioactive? Is it just like bewitched? What's going on here? And I thought that really worked. And I also used the fireflies because I knew obviously I wanted to place some insects because I feel like that's a given for any research area, lab areas, lab kind of scenarios. And I really liked the firefly because obviously of the blue container and because it was glowing. It was a match made in heaven. But we are already approaching the end of this super duper short but hopefully very lovely build. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I really do appreciate it so much. So I'm going to leave you now with a montage of this finished build as per usual. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I shall see you, my love, for the next one or whenever I see you. Take care of yourself. Until next time, and bye-bye.